So we had some snow and I was going to use the snowblower, and I really should have made sure that it worked ahead of time. So learning as we go, learning as we go. So let me show you what I came up against. I had put gas in, got good gas. Petcock turned to on, right? Well, I should say that this is a Tecumseh motor. Yep. Key turned to on, throttle on, choke set to full, primer bulb. Now, I don't know if you can hear that. Let me bring you down to primer bulb level here. Sounds like it's not really drawing any fuel in. And when I tried to start it, it would run off what was ever in the whatever the primer bulb had drawn up and then stop. So I've got a fuel flow problem, and that's today's project, to unravel that. My history with this snowblower is it runs when I don't need it, and when I do need it, it doesn't run. Also, let's see. There's a, can you see down here? This bolt here is one of two bolts that holds the this assembly onto the motor. It kept falling out. It fell out twice. So when I was like really going into a snowbank, the bolt worked its way out and I lost two bolts somewhere. And so I finally got a new bolt, cinched it down with lock washers and Loctite, and then we didn't have any snow last winter. And so we had our first snow this winter with that nor'easter. We had about 4 or 5 inches of heavy wet snow. Perfect job for the snowblower. And then I got this primer bulb that's going on nothing. It's like sitting there listening to a kid try to get the last 1/8 inch out of a milkshake. And just about as annoying. So I'm going to work on that. So hang on. So here's another bit of information here. Primer bulb, the priming tube. I don't know if I can do this here with one hand, and I can. One less, no. Yeah. Okay. So listen if you can. Well, it's not coming out because I can't hear it. But anyway, I'm getting good suction, good draw from the primer bulb through this tube, which is good because that tells me I don't need to take off this blower housing where all that stuff is in there in case I had a leaky tube and wasn't getting enough suction. So that's good to know. Now on to, I guess, checking the fuel flow. I've got a suspicion that the fuel line, which runs between, well, it's all sandwiched in there, runs like right through, and it might be pinched. I'm hoping it's as simple as that. So that's next step. Actually, a simple way to test that is to turn the petcock on and see if I get fuel flow to the carburetor. So I'd say that's pretty good. So now it's got to be something in the piping in the carburetor that the suction tube attaches to. So cleaning the carburetor. So instead of sticking it in the dishwasher, I think I'll just take it apart and use carb cleaner. Okay, that is a fiddly little thing. Well, you can't really see it, but yeah, to get that in there upside down with, yeah, you guys that mess with those needle valves and a float bowl know what a dicey deal that can be. Now the other thing that I'm not entirely sure about how to fine-tune is this thing underneath. I know that this controls the rate of flow out of the bowl up into the carburetor, I'm pretty sure. So I've got it set pretty wide open. And, I've got that little washer there, the rubber washer, seated by the pressure of that spring, but it's still pretty much wide open. So I guess now the test will be to open the petcock, fill the float bowl, and then see what kind of slurpage I get from the primer bulb. So let's do that live here. So there's fuel flowing into the float bowl. Yep, it's getting cold, so, and I'm getting a little bit of drippage out of the bottom, so seat that a little more firmly. Still getting a little bit of drippage, but that's good. A couple more turns, see how that does. Drip, drip, alright. Let's go all the way up with it for now. See if that stops. If that doesn't stop, then we got a problem. Drip. Well, the other thing is it might be coming from that nut because I didn't tighten that all the way. So, let me do that. Alright. Seems I got the drippage fixed. Opening all the way up here. I don't care if I fled the thing, I want to make sure I got good flow. So I think that's pretty good. Alright, on to the live test. Alright, petcock is open, yeah I did that. So this should have a really good sound to it now. Listen to that, yeah. Oh, you know why? Because, don't work on engines if you're a dumbass. Okay. Plus this camera just zooms in so far. Come on. Get on there. Alright. Dang it. Okay, that's on there. What a fiddly bit of hose. Alright, so now. I gotta, let's see, push bulb in. Slurp. Push bulb in. Slurp. So it sounds like push bulb in. Displace gas with air in carburetor and float bowl. I do get a slurp, but it doesn't sound like I'm drawing much air out or drawing much fuel up. So I'm displacing fuel, but not drawing any up to prime it. So let's see what happens here. Choke. gotta take the carb off. So I gotta figure out how to get those bolts out to free up the carburetor. So, more troubleshooting. I won't let this thing beat me. Alright YouTube, I found the problem. And the problem was the seat for the little float bowl valve in this tiny hole here. There's a little tiny rubber valve seat. It was all desiccated. So all these little bits were that tiny valve seat. So what was happening, the seat hole, it was all closed up, so I wasn't getting any fuel flow into the float bowl. So now I have to get another one of those little tiny rubber Tecumseh valve seats for the float bowl. So after putting the carburetor back on again and not having even less flow, so I guess when I was shooting carb cleaner in there, it finally jammed some little pieces that were coming off and blocked the flow altogether. So I had taken the carburetor off again and double checked everything, and that's when I found the little white rubber valve seat thing just coming out in pieces. So troubleshooting, found the problem. Now I need to get a little tiny part, or maybe have some guy fix it. But yeah, that's the problem.